Hi everybody, hope you're enjoying your day. I've been hard at it all day figuring this out. I was trying to create the beginnings of an actual game before I came online, but I haven't actually been able to do that. It took me a long time, and what took me so long to prepare for this was I was trying to create nice looking graphics for our game, and I had some, but the ZX paintbrush imported it as ink. My code was written to work where the majority of the colours were background, so I've had to mess around remaking a lot of the background art. It doesn't look as good as my first version because I was rushing through it to catch up, but it does now work. What we're going to be creating is a Mikie clone made by Konami in the early 80s, and it's a cool little arcade game. But the more I thought about it, I thought, do you know what, it's a simple arcade game as well, and we're only going to be making level 1 to start off. We're not even going to finish that today, I don't think. It's going to take hours to get the preparation done, set up the viewport. Again, we'll use copy and paste sometimes on that. I've got it all written here working, but we're going to start from scratch so that we don't miss anything. You can just watch this one video. Alright. Pause this music for a minute. I might have a break later. It's going to be a long video, so I'll bring that music back up if I do, but it won't be a very long break. Alrighty. I'm going to, this time around, keep much more organised file structure. It was getting on my nerves, the existing one, a lot, because of my mouse wheel mainly. Oh my goodness, I've just realised I might be in 720p. Hopefully it's readable. I really hope so. That will be very annoying if it comes out not very readable, but .720p, bugger. Oh well, I'm going to make do with it and live and learn if it doesn't work. So, how are we going to do this? I've created several files already, but I'm going to just copy them here so that I'm not dragging them in, you know. I'm going to actually copy paste them in, type them in most of the time. We're going to call this game Spiky. Like that. I'm giving it. Oh, thank you for the follow, my friend. Much appreciate that. Big help that. I'm nearly at the 50 now. I'm getting there. Let's call this one Spiky. So I've created a folder called Spiky and a file called that inside that folder. Let's go find him. That folder in here. So we're always there. Yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it, innit? Gonna try and open this. Oh, that's a shame. I wanted to open that in a separate instance, just to help me along the way. There we go. Done it. Yeah. So at the start of every one of my programs so far, I've done this exact thing with a different size starting location. But we're going to start from there to give us loads of room for screen memory. and then we'll just tell our program to start from there and end from there. That's going to sort us out with Pasmo, so it will just compile and work straight away into the spectrum. And then this is just like a test to see what we compile it. That's going to make the border whatever the A value is. And that one there is going to clear the screen. Start a main loop. Pretty much every time I just do that just to make sure it compiles. Oh, not tab bass, tab bass. Spiky.asm, spiky.tap, and it compiled fine. I'll invoke item spiky.tap. There we go, we've got a black border. Perfect. Now, the other day I created something called vsync. Oh, I've just opened it in here, I didn't mean to do that. And I am going to copy and paste it in, but I'm going to create a new file for it. vsync.asm. This is going inside a folder called utils that's in our root folder. So there's the file structured out above. And that's the contents of that file. Like I said, I'm going to separate it all out. Lots of things have their own file completely. Mainly because my mouse wheel's so buggered, but also for just general organisation. It's very simple that. It just takes the pointer for the previous frame count, checks it against the current frame count which is built into the spectrum, does a comparison to see if it's equal to 3, and if it's not, it waits. So it's going to force us to wait in a certain sync. Yeah, certain frame skip, not frame skip, the opposite, like frame wait, I guess. I also found I needed a halt there straight after it. Now the next thing we need is another one that's like, we've been building these tools over time, so I hope if you haven't watched my videos already, some of this, especially this next, is going to be a real head scratcher for you. But I've named this file doublebuffering.asm. Again, I put it inside utils. And I've done several videos where I've typed this in from scratch. So I mustn't do it again because it will end up being a 2-hour video just of me typing these again. But what's actually happening is we're going line by line because of the way the spectrum's laid out in its video memory. We're taking bytes from our buffer memory, which is laid out in a straight order, normal 2D array style. We're taking the bytes 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And then we move the stack pointer to where our actual video screen memory is, and we push it back in reverse order. We do that over and over again. There's 192 lines, and we do a half a line at a time. So that's that sorted. The next thing we'll need to draw a background, because that was needed to draw everything. But we'll create a buffer to draw to. Which I've actually already done part of in this. This is just a load of constants telling it where the windows begins in memory and how long the window is, how wide in bytes. And these are just convenience things. This one here I don't even think is needed. Well, it's just an offset inside the buffering routine. Same as that. The chunk length, we're only doing half the line at once. So I then went to create artwork, and I've created a background. I've ended up just calling it BG1. .asm. And this isn't inside utils, it's back in the root folder. I make a new file folder called BG, and then inside that BG1.asm. This is converted artwork that I have set up a program called ZX Paintbrush, ZX Paintbrush, and it is set up to, I added them, but this is the actual bitmap. It's 16 by 16, and then there's the attributes after that, and that is spewed out by the art program. So I drew a picture that was 192 by 192 with colours, and it's converted it into however many tiles it is of them. It tells you above how many tiles it is somewhere. There. Actually, that's not how many tiles, that's how many characters. It's 16 by 16 tiles. I might as well write that there. And here we've just again put constants for convenience when we're looping through. This is how many bytes one whole tile consists of, including its position, its bitmap, and its attributes. That's how many tiles there are. The properties length is at the front. Sooner or later I'm going to want to put a 1 there if it's solid, and a 0 if we can walk through it, a 2 if we can pick it up, things like that, and then I'll be able to check, and then I'd have to add that to 3, and I'd have to put that up by 1 as well, and probably that as well. But it's not perfect code by any means, but this does certainly work. I've had it working. It's still a work in progress because it doesn't look perfect when you load it up, but it looks pretty goddamn good so far. So I'll leave that there. It's ready. It's a tiled map of a background with colours. And the way we draw that is, well, at first we're going to use another one of my tools I've already created, which is sprite drawing, which we've seen before many a time. Again, I'm going to show it now. I've just renamed it, that's all. Sprite drawing.asm. That is in utils. And then this is the contents of that. It looks scary again, but don't worry because it's not. It's just repetitive as hell. That might be some comment left over from something. I'm not sure that's needed. I've made a draw sprite 1616 now. I think that's pretty obvious, but that's a 16 by 16 sprite. So if your sprite you want to draw is that size, that's the one you call. This bit here is the sort of bulk of it, because that points you to the origin of the sprite in the memory. What it does is it takes the Y position, times it by 8. The reason it's only times by 8 and not 30, well, no, it's times by 24 here, sorry, we're on sprite pixels, so it's doing it on a pixel level. It pushes to BC and pops back to BC what is in HL. The reason it pushes BC twice is because it wants to get it back and save it later, but for later. But that's just to record what HL times 8 is. So then we add HL together again, so that becomes 16. Then we add the 8 on, so it's now 24, and that's because the window width is 24. So this relies on a window width of 24, as it says. It wouldn't work if you change the width, you'd have to adjust it. After that, all that goes on is we found the origin, we go straight to 0, 0, which is the sprite's origin, take into A from BC, which is the sprite data, the first byte, paint it into where A is pointing, and then increment both of them, i.e. moving along one, do the same. The next time it gets slightly more complicated, we have to move the sprite data on one, but then we move the HL pointer, which is where our screen is, down an entire line by adding the window width. That's why I decreased one there, because we were actually forward one. You could just do add window width -1, but I ended up with debugging. I got rid of that and done that, so I'm going to just leave it. And then we just do that over and over again. And it's exactly the same for sprite 1624, which is what our player size is. We find the start of the memory, and then we just go down. There's just a few more of them. So yeah. Sprite drawing is there, that's taken care of now. We could easily adjust this to be any size, just with a few more of these, you know, and I've commented it so well that it's really easy to copy and paste. So I'm trying to adjust my screen so I can see like if there's any comments and stuff. That's what I'm doing. So now we can draw sprites. We need to write some way of drawing the actual tiles, because they're just sprites pretty much, you know, they're just a bunch of sprites. That's what our sprite wants when I said it's the sprite point now. So draw tiles, and again I've just put 1616 because I intend to make it so that we can have another size of tile. This was a cack-handed way of doing it, and the only reason is because I wanted to use BC. I wanted to use our draw sprite method, routine that we already have, but it uses BC, and I was using BC to iterate through the tiles. So if you imagine this, B equals tile count when you call this function. So I had to save BC. I also wanted IY. This was again not needed, but I just ended up with this way of doing it when I was debugging. You can't move IY to IX. So, or you cannot even do this. You can't do like load BC IY. But you can push IY to the stack and then pop it into BC, which is the same thing for my purposes. So we load the X position into D. And the Y pos into E. And then we can call draw sprite 16 by 16 because it's the tiles we're drawing here. We can now pop back BC, so that's now the tile count again. Load tile length into DE so that we can just increment both pointers. Now I should have put up here IX equals tiles pointer. The IY also equals tiles pointer, but just for convenience I wanted tiles pointer plus 2. i.e. the actual bitmap data. Just to increment them, that moves them on to the next tile. And then what we do is a command called djnz to this own function, which means it's going to look at B, reduce it, and if it's not 0, go back and just do the same thing until it is 0. Once it is 0, it will return. That's the job done. Now again, I know that I could get away with just using IX here and being clever with how I increment it. I just ended up doing it this way, and actually you'll see later on when I do the player, I think it is, it's done slightly differently with just IX. Okay, so tile count's 144, we looked at that earlier. Tiles property length 2, we looked at that. It's pointing at BG, which is this label here. So obviously it's looking right at that first byte. It's a pointer to this bit of memory where it starts. And then this one is just like writing BG plus 2. And cool, draw tiles. Now, you've obviously never seen this in the art program, but this is basically I was really annoyed at the time because I'd done it painstakingly accurate, but all the colours got inverted and my code didn't work for masking. And the quickest way actually ended up being drawing the entire thing again in the Spectrum art program, but using paper or making sure it was paper. And I just had to learn the hard way on that, unfortunately. Next time I'll do that from the start, but I had to redo all of this, so it doesn't quite look as good. But it's basically a similar scene as what you'd see in level 1 of Mikie. And once we've included all them files, I like to put a little includes separator. It's not you, it's utils / sprite drawing.asm. In fact, let's go down here and just copy paste that entire include section because there's a few more we'll be doing. There's all the files we'll be using. They're pretty self-explanatory on what they're doing. Colours is where everything to do with colour is handled. We better look at that and load it into this program. Again, inside utils, saving colors.asm. Oh, that's not colors.asm. Or is it? Yes, it is. So it started out as just a collection of constants for me to be able to remember. And then I started using it for ink because in my code I mask out those and just use this to paint the player. But that's for the player, that's later on. We're just doing the background right now. Same as that. That was a test. I don't even need that. That was when I inverted it. I tried to do it the other way around, but it just didn't work. And again, similar stuff. Just telling me where the start of the memory is for the attributes. So we've got colours, what else? Game values, that's for the player. Don't need that one yet, or that one. Key cacher, that's for the player. Random numbers, I'll put it in there, but I just done a test of random background last night. That's not really needed. I'm going to cheat and just copy the whole file in this time and then show you it. So it's just a random number function. And we've got the rest, we've already looked at it. Let's try and compile that. Oh, an error. That's not a good start. Oh, player Y is undefined. I don't want to just paste the player in, so I'm going to just get rid of paint player for now. So we've got paint BG tiles. It works much the same way as the draw. Hello, Mosma mate. Haha, no worries, no worries. I hope you enjoy watching. I know you've watched almost all the videos, so there's not that much new for you here, but it's more of just a recap, and I've tidied it into a project that we're going to make into an actual game. And almost everything from every video is in here. It works in much the same way as the pixels, except that I've commented it here. What we want is y pixels times 32, or cells, so y cells times 32, so that we move down one character line. But y was in pixels, which is 8 times the size of character cell. So we only actually have to times it by 4. It's pretty convenient. X is times 1 anyway, so it didn't matter. What I mean by that is X is 1 byte anyway. Our movement code currently moves one whole cell to the right every time. The same with tiles, obviously. Oh, it hasn't worked, it's crashed. What have I missed? Not sure what I've missed right now. Spiky. It's tough to debug when it just boots up and crashes. It compiles file and then boots up and crashes like that. It could be anything. We know that was working. There's not really much it's doing. I mean, if I get that out, it'll surely boot and just sit there. Yep. So it's something I've done in here. Did I include BG1? Yes, I did. Didn't include any other BG, did I? No. Didn't modify that in the slightest. Because I don't even think we use that. Oh, maybe we did. Oh, just in that colours. Don't need that either right now. I'll stop commenting stuff out that we don't need. Same crash. Did I put tile count? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Weird. Tempted just to switch over to the one that works now and just show that off instead. Maybe we could just add to that live. If I can't get this working real quick, probably miss one line out somewhere. Strange. I tell you what, it matches exactly what's already there. Let's switch back then. Seamlessly like that, cheating. It's weird because I didn't change anything, did I? So I apologise about the neighbour's dogs. I mean, I had a bit of trouble, but it was not ever crashing like that. It was just like painting the wrong colours and stuff. That's what took me so long. Alright, so I'm back in my big boy one, which is basically the same. We'll just have to glimpse through it in a sec. Try and see what the difference is. And there it is, look. I can't imagine what I was missing. But, I mean, there is some glitching when I hold the key again. It's a common thing with something to do with my input handling. And the masking doesn't work 100%. Although I think that's something to do with the level design. You can design the level in such a way that it would work. But I thought that was quite a good start. I didn't even bother implementing the max X. That causes glitches as well, so I'll change that right now. I reckon it had something to do with the reason that Spiky wasn't working was because I didn't put the player in there. I reckon there was some code stupidly when I commented out the player. I really don't know. There's really very little difference there. I can't imagine what the difference is. Huh. Interesting though, that didn't work. Did I call the wrong size of that? This is how I've achieved this anyway. Let's look at this, because at least I know this works. So, oh yeah, I was going to cap the movement. I've already put in the constant that it needs to be. Because even if you play Mikie, you'll notice they don't let him too near the edge of the wall, because it would mess up the colours. I actually played it and tested it to find it out, and I also downloaded a screenshot and looked at it on a grid. I could see how it was lined up. Where's player? players in the root, and game values. So there's what I need it to be. I just need to actually cap it. Let me just look at Z80CP, because I don't really want that return Z says return if it's equal to the minimum, but I'd rather be more robust than that and do less than or equal. I forget if it's C or NC. Okay, so C is set if it's less than. So return C, but then change game values and just put that up a little bit. Well, just one really. And then if it's more than or equal to max X, which is NC. Doesn't work. See if left works. I can't move left already, so I've messed something up there. Let me have a check. 17. Oh, is that in character cells? And then, oh, okay, so yeah, it was meant to be in character cells. Everything else is fine. Hey, there we go. Okay, that needs to be a higher value. It's because of the less than thing. There we go. That's not too bad right now. Pretty happy with that. Obviously these doors will have sprite there to make them sharp, and then when you open them, the sprite just disappears. I mean, Mikie was made in 1984, yeah, and I'll be amazed if I get anywhere close to the quality of it. And it was only a medium quality game, so I'm not, not too excited, but I'm still pretty excited. So that stops him going off the edge of the screen. That's just like the hard value. But now it comes to the crux of it, adding collisions. I think I'm just going to make a door that is solid pixels, so I don't have to draw it. Because the first type of collision is very easy. Is Mikie colliding with the doorway? And if he is, and you've collected enough hearts, and you're pressing the button to go, then yes, you are through the door. So that's easy. I can do that collision, no problem whatsoever. What I haven't yet implemented on a Spectrum is the collision prevention. For example, the desks that will be there. You can't walk through a desk. I've got to come up with a way of, in my move code, exiting it. I've seen on the game engine there, the action game engine, arcade game engine, they use something called can go left, like some function that seems built in. So that seems like a clue. You know, I could call that inside my move code and exit if it's true, or you know, exit if it's not true. But you know, there's a big step between saying that and doing it. How I've done it in C# and C++ is I literally do the movement. I create like a ghost of myself. I can't even, it's been a couple of years since I did it, but I can literally just create as if there was another collider and another player and just move that forward. And if the collision is there, then I just didn't allow the actual movement to happen. And I think that could be done on the Spectrum, but I'm not sure how. So let me talk through how this works. We're calling vsync just to wait. This bit's is still a little bit mystic for me. I don't quite get it, but I mean I wrote it. I do understand how that works. It just waits for 3 frames by checking the existing frame count. But I'm sure you're meant to have some code in here doing stuff while it's waiting. Then we're halting, so it's at least 50 frames per second every time anyway. Don't really get the point in that either, because we're already waiting for the frame count, but it was glitchy. I'll show you it without it. See the glitches in the side bit there? And all over the screen as I move. They get painted back over quite quickly. The whole game seems to have crashed now. I'm not even moving. That's all from it not having a halt. And I actually found that if you don't have that halt in the right place, you'll get them effects. So you might think you've written some rubbish code and just find it's something to do with timing actually. I think I need to learn one day to be more protective over all my pointers, to check have they actually completed somehow. I haven't got a clue how to do that, but at the moment I think that's the only way I can think that that's happening, is that the pointer is remaining somewhere where it shouldn't at some point and drawing into the wrong memory. And it looks like sometimes it actually goes too far completely and too far low maybe, and messes up, like crashes the system. But that halt there stabilises all of it so far, and I don't get hardly any glitches. Or in fact, none. There's one there in the UI when I hold the button too long. Now it's always there. If I reboot and I don't hold the button too long, no, it does it as soon as I press up. Actually, in our movement code, which I haven't shown yet, I tried to get around that problem by caching it instead. So this is the same as before, where we're checking is a key pressed, but this time I called set A to 1, and what that does is just sets the ball is key pressed A. Later we can call reset keys. So that's how I've done it. So here I call check keys. That's essential to cache the key presses. Then I check any of the keys that are pressed. Later on, right at the end, we do reset keys. I mean, to be honest, that could be up there, because we're not going to use the keys any after that. But it's still glitchy. It's less glitchy actually, a little bit less now I've done that. But I think with that glitch problem, I have to post on a forum. Buffer higher in memory, okay. Good shout. Very good shout. I think I'd already allowed a large sort of buffer here, but I'll put that up anyway. Seems the same so far. Did I do that properly though? It's almost as if like this is in the wrong place for a second, isn't it? Just for like one frame, because it's like half a line is getting painted in a weird place. No, it was a good stab in the dark. That it was. I should have thought of trying that, because I think if you go too far off the screen, that's where it's going to end up, isn't it? Like before with my code, it doesn't check to see if it goes too low. Well, it should always start from that. Actually, now it would always start from there, wouldn't it, and go upwards. Just leave more space there, just in case. I mean, I can't see that doing anything, but it's worth a try, isn't it? So no matter what key you press, it happens. It's something to do with the timing, I'm pretty sure, of doing these checks and then moving. I wonder if we put the halt after check keys. Don't think it'll make any difference. Maybe one here as well. Let's just try that. No. Oh, it's less glitchy. It was less glitchy a little bit, but slower as well. Alright, that was a bit better for some reason, just moving that one halt. So I'm sure we need to find a way of checking the keys inside the sync. That's what we actually need to do. So then if it's not finished doing whatever it is, like the drawing part, it won't check the key. Because I know it's something to do with the keys, because it's as soon as I press the key, you know. Or maybe the drawing. I wonder what happens if I do a halt just before drawing the game window. That's perfect. That solved it. That's all I need to. I kind of get that. So we want to, you know, that's given us enough time to make sure all that's done before it actually draws it somehow. I wonder if I could get rid of that, maybe. Perfect. Yeah. So it was just the position of that halt that made all the difference. And I did, when I was thinking, I've just reminded myself when I was thinking about that problem before the other day or yesterday. What I was actually thinking was I want a VSync 1, which will wait whatever frames I want it to wait. I think that should be 2 ideally. That'll give us 25 frames per second, wouldn't it? Okay, that's glitchless. So I'd do that one time, completely empty, and then again here for just 1 frame, I was thinking, or maybe 2. But now maybe the halt achieves the same thing for now. And that's the only halt statement in that whole routine, so that's good. Brilliant. So I guess there's no avoiding it now, it's collisions only if we want to make a game. And I haven't practiced those at all yet. I mean, I could easily make a door one now. That's just a general AABB. Even though I haven't got a door sprite, I might implement the collision anyway. So I'll create door.asm. I'll put it in a folder sprites. I'm going to move my player to that same folder in a minute. We can pretty much copy the player. We just need less. We don't need any move code. But I forget how many character cells it is, although I've got it still in here in ZX Paintbrush. A door is actually 4 character cells, so it's bigger. Oh yeah, no, I put Y first. The reason for that is here, if I do it with Y first, no, that's wrong. Here, sorry. Because I've done it with Y first, this seems really odd, but D and E are reversed. So I've pointed it at Y, but D's ended up being X. It's a real gotcha, that. So this time I want it to be 32 height. I'm just going to do them all black pixels for now. So 32, I need to go all the way to line 42, don't I? Or 41. 4, 8. Yeah. Door sprite. We'll have to make a modified version of sprite drawing. Fortunately, a door is, or maybe we could use two 16 by 16 tiles. That might work. I think I'll probably do that. So I keep muting it so I can eat because I'm starving. Basically, I've done draw tiles. That's wrong. Draw sprite 16. Draw sprite 16 by 16. That's only going to draw the top half of the door. I designed the level on ZX Paintbrush. You can't see it, but I can tell you now that in character cells the position should be 0, 1, 2, 6. That should be 6. It's 4 character cells. Let's do 4 times 8. I'll repeat myself a million times, it doesn't matter though, it's all good. Wires in lines. So that should just draw the top half of the door. Let's see if it works. Do I need anything else? Don't think so. Oh, door sprite is undefined. Is it? Oh, because I didn't include it. No. Oh, while I'm at it, I'm going to move player into the sprites folder. And just because I'm an annoying git, I'd like it to be in as near to alphabetical order as possible for some reason. That's going to have its own folder soon, so I didn't include that one in that. So we just included door.asm, door sprite. We're looking good. Come on, work as intended for once. Come on. Alright, well it's drew it, or drawn it, but we haven't included any attributes, and also I haven't done colour, any colour. Where do I colour the player? Paint player. So I probably should have called that paint sprite actually, and not paint player, because we'll use that again. Oops, didn't want to do that. Oh, that's why it's called paint player. Oh, I'll leave it then. I have to do more copy paste by the looks of it. So just stop messing around. So firstly, I'll add the attributes to the door. Although the door just has one set of it's gonna be a solid colour, so I don't need to write the same colour over and over. I can just use that like a constant door colour. First use the flash and the brightness. Let's put brightness on. Do we want it to be paper or ink? Our player is only ink because he masks and takes whatever the background is. So I'd say we want him to be the door just to be paper, which is here. And if we want a blue door, Let's see what the original has. Original has a dark blue door. Why does it say player deleted? Oh, I know. Because I moved it. I've got some constants set up so I don't have to remember all this all the time. Dark blue is 001. And then the ink, black. Because that way it'll match. Oh, hang on now. I'm going to have to put all zeros, aren't I? Oh, well, that'll be easy enough. Yeah, so we've got blue paper on black ink, and it's all paper. We could even do a little door handle in ink. Just like that. That'll do. But in fact, let's make it like a handle. I'm just skimming through. I don't know what I'm actually doing now. Oh, we've done door colour, didn't we? So I'm going over to colours because that's where I'm putting all my sort of colour stuff. It's a 16 by 16 because I'm doing it in tiles. In fact, it's a paint tile, isn't it? The thing is, I've only got one to do all tiles. Tile count. Okay, we could just treat it as a tile map, can't we? Look, door tiles count equals 2. Or is it 2? Yes, it is. 2 16 by 16 sprites. So if we lose them ones, that makes it a bit clearer. There we go. So I think we can use it unmodified now. Let's try and keep it tidy, like we're doing the paint background paint player. Let's do the paint here. So load IX. Oh, wait up. That's bloody annoying. The way I've written that. I missed that one thing that would have made it so I could just reuse it. Where is it? Paint BG tiles. It's going to expect 4 attribute. bytes. It's also taking all that. So it's another specific one, unfortunately. If I make sure it matches them, I could do it. I could probably still use it. I mean, I could do that. This is non-essential because it's never going to go past there anyway. It's got to be in lines, hasn't it? I might as well call that door now. It's not just a sprite. So really, we could just do draw tiles as well with the same trick. I've noticed one mistake already, but we can fix it. Tile properties length is the same as what we need it to be. I just remembered a mistake and then I forgot it. Damn, why didn't I fix it at the time? Oh yeah, this is the position now, isn't it? So this isn't even needed. So it's a bit of a bugger. But we're never going to actually move the door, so this is okay. And even if you wanted to, there would be ways of doing it. I think it's actually best to just delete them. I should have bloody remembered what they were before I deleted them. Six. I could do 4 times 8, but I'm going to just work that one out now. 16, 32, isn't it? So then it works from the top. So that needs to be 48 and that needs to be 6. One day I am going to come through and sort out the functions so that they just take one more input and you don't have to, because it felt a bit weird there using the tiles property length. Although if I just had a general constants folder and put that in there, tile properties length, and made sure all tiles had the same length of properties, that would have also been good enough. So now let's draw tiles. Alright, pretty good. Pretty good, except for it's flashing like a bugger. Oh, did I do the flash bit, not the bright? And also, why is it black? Let's do both of them 0. Wait there's 9 bits in that. I really wish you could write binary like that so you could see it, because then I'd be able to know what's ink and what's paper quicker. But I reckon it wouldn't work. It's still flashing, what the hell? Let me look at that top bit, I need to zoom into that. That's a bit mashed up. Something at the top left is knackered. Funny enough, it's the same colour as the door as well. I'll stop painting the door for a sec, but I think it's still going to have the glitch since I changed. Door's gone. Oh yeah, I remember what it is. It's going to go instantly to the right. It assumes there's a tile to the right. So with the player, I haven't bothered with attribute bytes. I've just done it in code. Might be able to do that here. I might as well just write one tailored to the right size here. It's going to be easy. Still going to be a bit of time for some gaming, I think, after this. I want to do a bit more Kingpin in the late evening. Bit of a late night game, that one. After the watershed. Is that what it's called? Watershed? It sounds wrong now. I think you get what I mean. Alright, so that one's going to do the doors now. We can draw it just properly. Let's rename it to door sprite, because it is just the sprite now. I'll just test that works, but you probably won't see anything because we just see the handle, won't we? Yeah, there's the handle. And if we walk in front of it, it actually, look, it covers us over. So I've got to do that before. I'm doing that after I draw the player, obviously, that's not good. Obviously I want to draw the player last, unless I want something to be drawn on top of it. It looks pretty good. You get a bit of glitching going on around the edge. That's only because the black bit around the door is done as ink, so that is getting affected. I might be able to use XOR on my sprites somehow, so that if it gets something behind it, then it does show it. Definitely do that. Yeah, 9 PM watershed, that's it. Kingpin can start after that. But I wouldn't want to do it before. Don't want any kiddies watching that one. That's annoying me that that's just painting the player. I need to paint all sprites, don't I? We don't even use this right now because the player's not that big. He's bigger. I'll still copy it. It still compiles fine. What was this one? Paint player. Paint sprite. Of course. This doesn't even use attribute bits. Basically, it's just figuring out what register to use to put the position of the sprite in. DE's in use. Obviously HL is. It doesn't look like BC is being used there. So I'm going to try that. Because that way I can just cheat and change that. Change that. Why have I always got yellow ink? What the hell's going on there? Oh, that's an old method that I wasn't using anymore. So I've either got to come up with a way of having a colour input as well, or I could have a paint sprite blue or whatever, you know. What I'd love to be able to do is just load like A with that before I start or whatever, or it doesn't have to be A. I probably should have used something like I used with my tiles where the attribute was built into the tile, but I haven't. So I either want to do paint door, or I just put the colour. I forget what colour that was, blue. I guess DE doesn't get used that much. It gets used here and here actually as well. I'd have to push it a lot. I mean, I could use IYL. That exists. Let's try it. We can't do that. Never used IYL in my life. Okay, that compiled. Alright, that might work. Flipping annoying thing. So, so now it does paint any sprite to any colour. And I forget what I wanted already, my brain's slowing down. So it wants B being X pos, Y, C, and then I, Y, L being the colour white. See, that works weird because they are backwards. So I think that'll work. Hopefully that works. I was relying on that. And it's only 16 by 16. Again, just more copy paste required there. Once again, I decrease HL only to increase it there by 32. So really I should just be doing 31. Oh, I'm not going to change it. There's a way to optimize it at a later date. Perfect. Hopefully that works now. Well, it compiled. Didn't work, did it? I wonder if the paper color is getting set again by the, because the background paints it paints that same area, if you know what I mean, white. Why is that door white? This IXY probably isn't working, is it? Definitely shouldn't be white. Let's just try pink on pink. Oh, we've got a pink handle and it's flickering. Does that show up on the stream? Yeah. I don't mind the flickering so much because I can look into ways around that, i.e. the VSync and the Halt and stuff. Yeah, I'm still waiting on that important call I was waiting for yesterday, and apparently they're going to be ringing later today, so it could happen soon. I better unmute my phone. Don't want to miss that. Completely forgotten where I am. Oh yeah, why is it not painting the door then? Let's pull colours over here. Just out of interest, I'm going to not paint the background a sec. So it's going to look all messed up, but I'm hoping the door will now be painted. Still not. But this is kind of good. It demonstrates what I was on about earlier. I had to mess around with that bit of the side to make it ink and paper. And then and they actually do this in the real Mikie, just block them from going near there. It has changed the ink, look. I didn't want to change the ink. Why is the door still white though? Is it? I actually don't know, because it should be paper colour, shouldn't it? This will get rid of that problem we just had with me turning pink. Yeah, the handle will still be pink. Oh no, it won't. No, the handle's ink as well, of course. It's looking pretty epic already, if you ask me. Let's make it full Technicolor again. Glorious Technicolor. Retro rules, okay. It's brilliant. But why is the door not white? I want a blue door. Give me that blue door. Whoops. I mean, that'd be a pink door, but I'll take a pink door at this stage. I'm sure paper comes before ink. Thanks, Moz. Yeah, I am happy with it. It needs obviously work, but it is confusing me though how I can't get the blue door. Yeah, because one minute I was thinking, okay, that must be because the background's getting painted at the same time or something. But I've tried it without that now. Let's just try it one more time without that, and then it's definitely a blue door. Yeah. 1, 2 is the front two. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. It should be blue paper, and then that 0 should be paper, shouldn't it? We're getting the handle in the right place. Let's give it another try because it's magically solved itself by witchcraft. Oh, there's no colours whatsoever now. That should have still worked though, shouldn't it? Yeah. It looks quite a lot like the real Mikie though. I've got the top corners and everything. I copied them. That took a bit of time. But I learned how the colour sort of works on Specky from doing that. You've got to think of your game area immediately when you make it, and then draw graphics around the edge of that to make it look nice and sort of nice. But you can't let the player in there because the colours wouldn't allow it. And then in the bits where you are going to, if you're going to use this sort of black sprite technique like I've used here, you want to use as less ink as possible on the whole background, you know what I mean? And leave the ink colour black for every tile, unless you really have to. So on nearly all them tiles, the ink colour is actually black. I mean, it's really annoying because I hate to just ignore that. If I can understand why it's not blue, it'll help me in the long run. I could try doing this, setting this like that. Maybe mine was messed up. I think it should have worked though. Oh, non-exist. Oh god, I've done something weird there. There's a pink door, but it's completely in the wrong place. And it wasn't meant to be pink. Put that back how it was. But when I go into paint sprite, I'll do a push. I'll push BC. I also called it 16 by 16 still, but I changed the amount, which was a bit stupid. Let's change it. See, I used to make loops, didn't I, where it would know how long it is, but my game was always running slow. So I tried to avoid doing that from now on. This is how I end up in this bloody mess. Pink doing, yeah, wrong place, wrong colour, but we'll take it. I doubt you've seen it, but it reminds me of Rick and Morty where they have intergalactic cable. And they get some guys selling doors that don't open. Can't remember what he says, it's really funny though. Maybe I could try pushing BC, is it somehow getting used? Then again, it's only a temporary thing anyway. I mean, as a test then, door Y, door X. Still nothing. So I reckon that was alright. And I reckon this IXL thing ain't. Let's just try door colour there. Oh, there's a lot of these, isn't there? Come on, work now. No, what the heck? I want to change the ink colour again so we can see if it's at least in the right place. Oh god, I just closed it. Let's get blue on blue. Oh, I think I've just sussed it out. I'm a moron. I've masked it, haven't I? Yeah, there's an OR there. I don't want to mask the door. I want it to overwrite the paper. That was meant for my player sprite. I only want his ink to affect anything. I want him to suck up the paper from the background everywhere he moves. So that's it. I think we can just delete all the ors. E or E. Oh I didn't even. What an idiot. I think that's okay. I've just in debugging made this specific to a door now, but I think that's probably what happened with my player as well. If it works, I'm going to try quickly to add IXY thing back. IYL or whatever it was. The only reason I didn't use IX. Oh, it's kind of working now. That's not even the flash bit that's doing that. That's something that, I think that's the fact that the background is painting over it. It's like raves going on outside. Gunfire. So how do they get around that, man? Because surely you're not going around in your tiles, in your background code, and figuring out if there's a sprite there, and then not drawing that particular cell. That just doesn't make sense to me to do that. But I'm sure that's what the cause of that is. But let me change this to IYL. Oops. So everything's in the right place. That trick does work with the IYL, so that's fine. Yeah, the reason I didn't use IX is because I sometimes worry whether there's timing issues, and we don't use IY very much, so that shouldn't really affect anything there. But why does... I've had this problem when I first started programming on the Spectrum, where I was colouring my player in. If you colour the background ink and then your player ink at the same time, it starts flashing. But you would have thought you could just colour the player after the background and then you'd be fine if you weren't moving. I can imagine when you're moving maybe, but if nothing's moving, why does it do that? I mean, the only other thing I can think of trying quickly is putting the background paint only once. But I've got a feeling when you walk past it, it's going to mess it up. Well, it'll mess the ink colour up. But maybe we can come around that. Maybe we can find a way around that by like replacing the ink colour in the cells as soon as you walk past one or something. Alright, so instead of doing it, let's just try it once at the very start first. See if we can get rid of the flickering. I didn't realise that was still open, sorry. Right, there we go, it works. It works perfectly actually. Because all my ink colour's always black, I don't need to worry about doing anything else. There's bits of the map that don't have ink colour black, but I don't let Mikie in there, or Spiky. That's looking good. So what we'd need for a victory condition on this screen is you'd have to have enough hearts, and then you'd have to be colliding with the door like there, and press whatever the action button is. And if all those conditions are set, then you've completed that screen. You move on to the next one. Next thing we need to do, I mean, I could make the door collision now, but I'm convinced that's going to be easy. But what's going to be hard is if I put a desk here and here and here, and I don't want to be able to walk into it, that's going to be slightly harder for me. Got some glitches there as well, a couple of pixels. Not so sure what they're about. Something to do with how the map was drawn. It's only been drawn once now, remember. I think maybe we could put like a couple of halts after the initial draw code. Just as a one-off. I don't know if this works. I've never tried this either, but see if that gets rid of them little pixels. Looks like it has. Perfect. There is one down there. Oh, they are developing on there. I'm still pretty happy with that as a beginner level game. We need to do the collisions, of course. A couple of enemies. Animations for the player. Got lots more to do. Too much more. Let's not do the door collision yet, because we'll have to add hearts and everything. So let's add a desk and try and not be able to walk into it, basically. Do you know what? I think I should end it there actually, because I haven't thought it through long enough to do that. And the way I want to do this is just how I'm going to intend to do it. Where is our data? For example, on our tiled map, if it's a static bit of furniture, I will draw it on the map, and then I'm going to have extra properties here to tell me, is it a pickup? Is it walkable? You know, can you walk through it or not? And there'll be a few other options, but you can probably do that all within one, because we can do up to 255 different options just in one byte. So, but they're going to have what's called like a state or a mode. And I don't want to do that now, because I'll sit here fiddling around for an hour, and before I know it, I'll be in a mess, and everyone will be watching thinking, what the hell's happening here, you know. Whereas if I go away, do that tomorrow, and then show you how I did it, I think that's better. I'm gutted that the other one didn't work. I think it was just because I didn't bring the player in, but we got this one, and I'm genuinely going to turn this into a Mikie clone with probably not all the levels, but there'll be like at least 2 screens to go through, and a main menu, and maybe a high score sheet at the end. I'm looking forward to doing it. I've been waiting, you know, hoping to get an actual game where I could put it on a tape and upload it to a website. It'll help my channel get traction if I can put a couple of games on the popular Spectrum sites. But they've got to have, I'm not going to put any old game out. It will be animated, and it will have like a complete game feel to it. You know, it might not be perfect, but I don't want glitches and pixels coming out everywhere and all that. I don't mind the odd flicker. So I've got to come up with a way of, well, I've already done it where we only draw the background once. Now maybe I could just occasionally draw it again, you know, like I'll come up with a way of drawing it every 100 frames or something. That way it would delete any glitches that were there. It's all good fun. It's going to take a lot of trial and error and reading behind the scenes. I'm expecting an important call now as well, so it's probably a good time to end the coding. I thought this was going to be a more mammoth video, because I was going to type it all out and then do the adding the door, and I thought I might even get to adding the desk, but that door just took too long. It's getting hot in here as well. I've got the door shut, the window shut as well, you know. So with that said, I'm definitely going to put a bit of Life of Crime on Kingpin. I had a lot of viewers there watching me on that one. I really enjoyed it. So I think we were like roughly halfway through that game now, just under maybe. So I'll get on that in a bit after I've had a smoke. Yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you Emook and Nodius for the recent follow. Miss Kate as well yesterday. Everybody who followed, thank you very much. Thank you for everyone who subscribed on my YouTube. They're both channels are growing to quite a good rate. Obviously, I would have been better. You know, some people have it growing thousands, but you know, I started from zero, so it's always hard to do that. Didn't have a Discord or anything, so. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So be back soon with gaming and back tomorrow with coding. Till then, have fun, guys. Bye bye.